Welcome to another exciting episode of Ancient Anecdotes powered by Listen Cub. This is your host, Ramanathan Iyer.
This is Neeti Ramanathan.
This is Anjan Iyer.
And this is Lalita Ramanathan.
In this epic episode of Ancient Anecdotes, we would like to introduce...
Hi,
Hey, wait a minute.
my name is Kamakshi Kaliswaran and today I'm representing Kudam. Kudam is a theatre education organization via which we teach children how to move, act, sing and have truckloads of fun with beautiful stories quite similar to the ones that you're already hearing here at the Ancient Anecdotes. Along with me are Rajavelu and A. Karthik, and we are supremely excited to be lending our voices for this episode in the Ancient Anecdotes. Thanks a lot for having us, guys.
Hold on. We have a lot more to talk about the effort and contribution we have been fortunate to have with Kamakshi and her gang right from the time this episode's script was formed. The decade-long theatre expertise that the Kudam gang have shown in this story is nothing short of stellar. Do stay tuned till the very end. You do not want to miss out on some more interesting stuff that Kamachi's team does. Suffice to say, we are absolutely delighted to have them on our show.
Abba, I need some cow.
What happened? Why are you sobbing? Come here. Take some cow.
Why is Lalita crying? What did you do?
Me? I did nothing.
I don't believe you. Papa, did Appa give you some sound thwacking?
Illama, you know what happened yesterday at school? Sharanya and Anusha were playing a game. I wanted to play with them as well. I went and asked them, Pa, can I also play?
And then what happened?
When I came closer to them, they saw me and started whispering the game on purpose, Pa.
Oh, and then?
I asked, I also want to hear. Tell loudly no. And they said, the game needs us to be flexible. You won't like playing this game as you are not flexible.
Oh no.
Yeah, oh no only. And then I went to play with Shamika. They came behind me and asked Shamika to join them, Pa. What mistake did I do, Pa?
Chacho. Sorry, don't worry. When you are a little calmer, no, you also think back and see if you were a little unreasonable or inflexible in the past with them, okay? And see if changing your ways a little can make sense, okay?
Okay, but that's not all. Today in school, Sharanya didn't come at all. And this Anusha is all pally with me. As though nothing happened. I feel so bad that people want me only when no one else is there.
See, Papa, it's all about understanding the nature of things, okay? If the fire is hot and you know it, will you keep your finger in it?
No, Pa.
Exactly. But if you didn't know and you touch the fire by mistake, the surprise stings you more than the heat does, isn't it?
I guess so, Pa.
Exactly. Understand the nature of people as well. Sharanya is an alpha at all times. But see, Anusha went from being a sigma to an omega when Sharanya is alone. Did you see that? She reverts from omega form when Sharanya is not there. And you went from gamma to delta instead of from gamma to sigma. Did you notice this?
Oh God, what are alphas and betas and gammas?
Long conversation. Let's do this some other day. Now let Laltama take cow and feel better.
Okay, but what is this cow thing you guys are talking about?
You remember on Sunday we had gone to Goshala for the Seva thing in the morning. When we were returning, Laltama told me that she was feeling very happy and grounded as a result of mowing all that cow dung and that she should be doing it more often. So I was telling that The reason she's feeling all this good is partly because of the effort. When we work for someone else, automatically we get the strength and balance post facto. Service to others without any expectations for the reward gives this benefit.
Okay, what's the other part then?
Well, I told my Chakrakutti about cow therapy.
Yes, Ma. I felt so awesome and great because of working next to cows. How, Pa? How do cows make us feel happy?
See, cows have a tendency to release some kind of chemical substances called pheromones, which calm people around them down, make them feel better, even cure illness sometimes. But what is really awesome is that cows' bodies can release the correct kind of pheromone according to the ailing person, it seems. We are also mammals, isn't it? So our body can also release some pheromones. But the use of these human pheromones are limited. Most people think pheromones are only used for engendering love and affection, and touch is mostly needed. See, in that sense, cows are far more evolved as mammals because they can release pheromones that can even heal others without as much as uttering a single word, and sometimes even without touch. This is the reason why people all over the world go and hug cows to feel better. Our ancestors knew about this, and so they built goshalas everywhere. This way, cows will be cared for and their species will continue, and true pedigree can be maintained. And at the same time, people can come and work in goshalas as a service gesture. It would benefit the goshalas as well and provide physical and psychological respite to all the sevaks. Our ancestors were such intelligent people, no?
That's right. Cows are healing and kind creatures. Really great.
Appa, but what if I want to feel better and the goshala is closed? I will be in dire straits. Where will I get the cow therapy from, Pa?
Yes, that is a valid question. And that is why I've told you, if you were feeling a little low, you can always use me as a cow. I can also give you some healing vibes.
My personal cow.
Hey,
That's right, Lalita. We have our own big cow at home, which can give us free cow therapy without cows or goshalas. Come, let's grab the appa.
oh God, I am being overwhelmed by an army of monkeys. Anyhow, are you guys feeling better?
I'm feeling much better, Pa. I just got the cow from you and can counter the feeling.
No, Papa. Getting cow from me is not to counter the feeling at all, but to get the strength to face it. When you are sad, you feel lost, isn't it? You don't know what to do. This feeling is called desolation. It really happens because we have low mental energy or prana. Desolation is a common symptom and very simple to handle actually. Desolation can happen because of a particular time of the day, or after certain events, or if someone tells something, or after having a specific kind of food, or because you have a particular habit. It is just a state of mind. Because of the mind's ebbed state, we lose our awareness. You know why you wanted cow? It is because you have experienced a higher state of prana or energy level at some other point. Just like I give you cow at times to help move you along, Granddad used to tell us that in many occasions, God Himself has given a helping hand to many devotees, sometimes even without them asking for help. When the devotee recognizes that the Lord of the universe has intervened, his awareness is restored, and this becomes true devotion.
Oh wow, I've heard of Gajendra's story where he asked for help and the Lord comes running to his rescue. But when did such an event occur where the Lord came to the devotee's assistance without being asked?
Buckle up. Time for an exciting story. The year 830 CE. The high and mighty flags of the Pallava dynasty had begun to flutter in the winds of war. From the time Shrikanta Cholan captured Tondai Mandalam in the north and the Rashtrakuta Govinda III invaded Kanchi in the south, Nandivarman III, the son of Dantivarman Pallava, had been working tirelessly to restore the Pallava's fading glory. After ruling for 40 long years, the aging king found himself worn down by the weight of his reign. Even though the battle with the Chalukyas was done, the battle-weary Nandivarman faced constant attacks from his relentless rival, the Pandya king Srimara Srivallabha. Each battle left Nandivarman's kingdom and his army more battered than before. And though he had managed to hold on for years, his defenses were growing weak. Nandivarman was a religious man. Ever since the days of his great-grandfather Mahendravarman II, Appar Swamigal's Vananai Madisudiya Maindanai song had become a family hymn that was always practiced before any great undertaking. So, by sheer force of habit, Nandivarman always stood hands folded in devotion every time his scouts brought back news of Srimara's oncoming assaults. He had a standard prayer, and while Nandivarman completed his prayer, his young son Nrupatunga Varman, who stood firmly at his side, eager to help, always watched his father's methods closely. He watched as his father clung on to cautious battle strategies in a desperate attempt to keep the kingdom intact against the unending threats. Although aware of the great Tevaram hymn that was his family tradition, the young Nrupatunga always felt that the hymn didn't have much effect, especially since the relentless Srimara was still at large. நமச்சிவாய வாழ்க, நாதன் தாழ் வாழ்க, இமை பொழுதும் என் நெஞ்சில் நீங்காதான் தாழ்வாழ்க, கோகழி ஆண்ட குருமனிதன் தாழ்வாழ்க, ஆகமம் ஆகி நின்று அன்னிப்பான் தாழ்வாழ்க, ஏகன் அநேகன் இறைவன் அடிவாழ்க, சிவனவன் என் சிந்தையுள் நின்ற அதனால் அவன் அருளாலே அவன் தாழ்வணங்கி சிந்தை மகிழ சிவபுராணம் தன்னை முந்தை வினை முழுதும் ஓய உரைப்பன் யான். O he who is the epitome of bravery, he who wears the moon on his head, he who went uninvited to Daksha's sacrifice and taught Dakshan the meaning of humility, he who swallowed the poison to protect his near and dear ones, he who protects even those who don't realize your might, he who burnt the 3 cities, my king, how will I ever forget you who possess such a reputation? O Lord, I know you test my mettle because I am worthy of this being tested. But please send me strength to know what I can do and what I must leave to you. It was on the eve of the great battle at Tellaru when Srimara invaded the Pallava territory and reached Tirukovilur. The grand Panguni Uttaram festival was only 5 days away. The revered Arunachala temple had been meticulously cleaned and sealed off from the public in preparation for the sacred event. According to legend, a sudden and extraordinary phenomenon occurred. Temple bells rang out loudly, divine hymns filled the air, and a brilliant large column of light shot down from the heavens into the temple's sanctum. Curiously, no human eyes or ears were aware of these miraculous events. Kanchi, meanwhile, was still wrapped in the quiet of early morning when a pigeon arrived. Inside the palace, King Nandivarman stirred in his chambers. The dawn chorus of birds had yet to begin, but the faint flutter of wings outside his window drew his attention. The gentle rustling of the morning breeze barely masked the soft sound. The king turned his gaze towards the window, where a lone pigeon had perched, its silhouette barely visible against the dim light of the breaking day. Nandivarman squinted, realizing this wasn't any ordinary pigeon. This one bore a small, tightly bound scroll tied to its leg. His heartbeat quickened. It was a messenger. This was no ordinary bird. So Nandivarman rose from his bed, careful not to make any noise, and approached the bird cautiously. Gently he untied the scroll and unrolled the message. The bird was unfazed, breathing heavily from the long journey, and continued to look at Nandivarman as he lit a candle nearby. The dim candlelight flickered over the parchment as he read aloud, his voice low but grave.
My king, in 2 days' time from when I write, on the 4th day of the waning moon, the Pandyas will have crossed the eastern slopes of Arunachalam, marching towards Kanchi. They are fewer in numbers, but their siege weapons will join them in 2 more days. You have to vanquish them before the siege weapons comes to bolster their ranks. I write this from Arunachalam. My king, meet me after you repel their advance.
Nandivarman's brow furrowed as he muttered to himself.
Who is this sender? And why a pigeon? Why not a scout on horseback? What am I to make of this?
He turned to the pigeon as though expecting a reply from the bird.
And you, little bird, have flown far to bring me this news. Who's your sender?
The pigeon blinked, offering no response. Nandivarman chuckled dryly, realizing he was talking to a bird. He held the scroll up, scrutinizing every word.
You carry strange news, little one,
he murmured. Without another thought, Nandivarman's voice boomed through the quiet chambers, shattering the peace of the early hour.
Guard! Fetch my son at once and ready the troops.
Nandivarman ordered, his voice calm but urgent.
The Pandyas are on the move again, and we ride to meet them.
Not long after, his son entered, already dressed for the day, his sharp eyes taking in the scene. He could sense the tension in the air. He glanced at the stoic pigeon and then at the scroll in his father's hand.
What's the matter, father?
Nandivarman handed him the note, pacing the floor.
Read it. A pigeon brought this news from Arunachalam. The enemy is marching toward us with siege weapons. We must meet them at Tellaru before they reach Kanchi.
The young prince scanned the note carefully, his mind racing. Something felt off. He turned the scroll over in his hands, rereading it slowly.
Father, this doesn't make sense. Today is Tritiya, the 3rd day of the waning moon. The sender has written the note on Dvitiya. The pigeon could have only flown for a day or so, meaning the sender knew of the Pandyan advance when they were still closer to Tirukovilur. It takes nearly a week for an army to march from there to Arunachalam. The sender could not have seen the army with his naked eyes. The siege weapons are behind schedule. How could the sender know that they were coming and the route they were taking? Why didn't our scouts bring this news? What happened to them? Why hasn't the watchtower at Tirukovilur sent word?
Nandivarman's eyes narrowed, realizing the truth in his son's observation.
You're right. This message reached us too quickly. But the Pandyas should be days behind the bird. What is it that I'm missing?
The prince handed the message back, concern etched on his face.
Whoever sent this seems to know more than they should. Yet our scouts
Have said nothing.
Nandivarman finished.
Either they have been bribed or worse.
He looked toward the window where the pigeon still sat.
Someone at Arunachalam knows more than we do.
The prince nodded.
It could be a trap or a warning from someone who cannot reveal their identity.
Nandivarman's jaw tightened.
Either way, we cannot delay. Call the troops. We march for Tellare at once. If the Pandyas think they can surprise us, we will give them a fitting surprise of our own.
As the prince left to ready the army, Nandivarman stood silently for a moment, the faintest hint of dawn beginning to color the sky. He glanced again at the pigeon, still quietly perched by the window.
Whoever sent you, little bird, they have set something in motion that even I cannot yet fully understand. But we will meet any challenge head on, just as we always have.
The Pallava army marched through the valleys of Arunachalam, their progress shielded by the towering hills. The rough terrain offered them natural cover as Nandivarman's seasoned troops advanced with the silence of a gathering storm. It was customary for Srimara to suddenly show up at Kanchi and attack. The Pandyas, under the command of Srimara, had planned to spring a surprise attack the next morning. But to their shock, the Pallavas were already there at Arunachala, their weapons drawn and ready for battle. Srimara, caught off guard, found himself and his men overwhelmed by the fierce onslaught of the Pallava javelins and their swordsmen. The surprise had backfired, and the Pandyas were being pushed back. Usually, Srimara would have had enough time to carefully place his warriors so that the Pallava javelins don't harm him too much. But this time, the relentless pressure from the Pallava offensive proved too much for Srimara, and in the chaos of the battle, he was gravely wounded. Unbeknownst to the Pallavas, Srimara managed to slip away from the battlefield, his mind set on returning to Madurai to recover and regroup. His thoughts were consumed by plans for a second wave of attack, but first he needed to heal and rearm his forces. As the clash of weapons gradually subsided and the war drums fell silent, an unsettling calm descended on the battlefield. The victorious Pallavas stood amidst the remnants of the skirmish. Nrupatunga wandered around the battlefield, restlessly looking at the fallout of the war. Nrupatunga suddenly realized something that brought a sourness to his mouth. When he was repelling the Pandya army, the death that he inflicted didn't bother him at all. Now that he was on the offensive, it made him feel somewhat weak. Srimara was the perpetrator of war. Although he had merely answered Srimara's war horns, Nrupatunga felt weak and wrong in spite of this seeming victory. Also, something about the battlefield felt different, almost otherworldly. A peculiar presence seemed to linger in the air, calling to them, as if the presence understood Nrupatunga's unrest, a peaceful yet intent presence. Young Nrupatunga, keenly aware of the strange atmosphere, scanned his surroundings. His eyes fell upon the imposing mountain of Arunachalam, its peak shrouded amidst the clouds.
The mountain. It calls to us. Can you feel it, Father?
Nandivarman beheld the slopes and his eyes climbed up to the summit.
Yes, my son. We must climb it. There is something there, something that beckons to us.
With a small retinue of guards, father and son began their ascent up the winding path that led to the ancient temple at the summit. Along the way, the villagers they encountered were overjoyed to see their king.
The temple is closed for Panguni Uttram.
One elderly villager explained.
There won't be any priest to receive you, nor anyone to perform the Purna Kumbham as a token of respect.
Nandivarman nodded, his resolve unshaken.
Respect? No. We've received enough. Our hearts are full. We go but to offer our respects.
He said firmly.
The blessings of Lord Shiva are all we seek.
When the Pallava retinue finally reached the mountain, the temple stood eerily silent, its doors closed, with no priests or pilgrims in sight. The air was still, and a profound silence enveloped them. As father and son entered the temple premises, Nrupatunga's mind cleared of its turbulence that he felt in the plains below the hill on the battlefield. Nrupatunga's young intellectual and logical mind was still unable to explain this sudden transformation. As all this was happening inside the prince's mind, the Pallavas reached the gates to the grand sanctum. Inside the sanctum, something caught Nandivarman's eye. The place where the deity would usually be venerated, a single white pigeon's feather lay on the ground, its delicate plumes stark against the stone floor. Nandivarman paused, tears rolling down his eyes. He contemplated the significance of this small yet profound sign.
திரு அண்ணாமலையானே, அடியேன் மறந்துய்வேனோ. Sukka, was it you, my lord?
Nandivarman murmured, his voice filled with reverence.
Was the pigeon and the message your grand play?
Nrupatunga neither saw the feather or his father's tears. His young blood suddenly bubbled with helplessness and anger. He couldn't hold back his emotions anymore. He clenched his hands and said out aloud,
Father, I have quietly watched from your side. It is almost like you know when Srimara is going to come. Yet you wait for the attack to come. We repel the attack, weather the storm, and you allow him to go back safely. Srimara returns, recuperates, and regroups and attacks again. I see the pain in your eyes each time we fend off another invasion. Our lands, our people, they grow tired of merely defending. It almost feels like arrogance, Father, that you know we are strong and you are fine with just defending, but holding back is costing us dearly. We must strike.
Nandivarman clenched his teeth, but reined in the anger and responded calmly.
Because we don't want to destroy him. We only want to ensure peace.
Nrupatunga was insistent.
Isn't the Pallava army made of any fiber of valor at all, O Father? Before Srimara gathers his forces again, let us surprise him. Let us take a battle to his doorstep. We must use the guerrilla warfare. We know that land better than they think, Father. Swift, precise attacks, Father. We could cripple them before they know what is happening.
Valor. You speak of a lofty ideal there, my dear prince. What is valor in your view? You are but 16 summers old. I just hope you don't see the day that although you rule all the lands as far as the eye can see, you can no longer afford valor. You speak with great passion, Nrupatunga, but war is not just about fire in the heart. It is balance in the mind and our actions, the experience. It's the experience that bends the tide in our favor. Srimara is a crocodile at war. He waits and attacks again and again. He has more experience than you, more wit. Do not take my questions as doubt in you, my son. You are brave, but bravery alone does not win wars. When the time comes, you will lead and you will learn. See, you already know that we are stronger and can repel any attack, but if you want to strike first, you must know fully what you're doing. I still feel we must choose discretion over valor, but pray, tell me, how would you execute this grand offensive? What strategy do you have beyond your desire to fight?
Nrupatunga hesitated. His thoughts clouded as if a dense mist covered his mind. The idea was there, but its form remained elusive, slipping away just as he neared it. The king and his retinue stood all around him, the empty temple enfolding them in an ancient, quiet warmth. It was a silence that felt alive, dense with the echoes of the past. Then, as if drawn from another world, the stillness was unexpectedly pierced by the bright sound of children's laughter breaking through like a shaft of light. Nrupatunga Varman looked over his shoulders and spotted 4 boys in a distance, a puzzled expression crossing his face. These boys hadn't been there just moments before, and the retinue hadn't spotted them on the way up the hill. Where did they come from? Outside the praharam, the boys had begun playing a game of hide and seek near the temple grounds. From their voices, Nrupatunga discerned that the sturdy, older boy was called Thoppan. He was chasing a group of smaller boys, and their names seemed to be Kalayan and Mayan. Across the temple courtyard, their joyous shouts were echoing through the stillness. Murugan, one of the Pallava scouts, stepped forward to silence the children, but Nrupatunga raised his hand to stop him.
The children have done nothing wrong, Muruga. Let them play.
As Thoppan chased the smaller boys, they darted towards a patch of bushes. Suddenly, a strikingly fair and handsome younger boy sprang out from his hiding place in the bushes, surprising the group and catching them all. The ambush was swift and unexpected. Thoppan called his striking-looking younger brother Suppan. A spark flickered in Nrupatunga's eyes. A plan came to him like a flash of lightning, illuminating a dark city in the new moon night. He turned quickly, calling for his swiftest scout, Velan.
Vela?
What was the brilliant plan that Nrupatunga got? What did he see in the children's game that inspired such an amazing plan? What was the key detail that eluded him before that was clear to him now? What will Nrupatunga do? Will he succeed? Stay tuned for the next exciting episode of
Ancient Anecdotes.
on your favorite podcast streaming providers.
Tune in for a brand new episode.